July 2016. Two men in medical masks walk into a Taipei bank branch. They don't use a card. They don't touch the screen. One simply stands at the machine and waits. Without warning, the ATM spits out endless cash straight into his hands. While these two men packed their bags, the exact same scene played out simultaneously at 20 other locations across Taiwan. This network map shows the Taiwan incident was merely the visible edge of a 2-year operation. The strike targeted more than 100 banks, expanding across 30 countries, and siphoning roughly $1 billion. The orchestrators behind this massive extraction were a collective of hackers known as the Carbanak group. They had executed one of the largest bank heists in history without blowing a single vault or using a getaway car, leaving investigators to figure out exactly how the global financial nervous system was compromised. To understand the scale of the theft, we have to look 2 years earlier, at a bank in Ukraine. It's a standard Tuesday for an employee named Maxime. Maxime had a habit of ignoring his pending Windows updates. When an email arrived with an attached Word document labeled as a federal compliance notice, he clicked on it. Opening that file triggered a hidden exploit. It quietly downloaded a malicious backdoor directly onto his terminal, bypassing the bank's external defenses entirely. Catastrophic cybersecurity failures rarely begin with complex code tearing through firewalls. They almost always start with a single, distracted employee making a routine mistake. At this stage, the hackers had a foothold, but Maxime's terminal did not have the clearance to move bank funds. They needed a higher level of access. The group intentionally installed software to slow Maxime's computer to a crawl, frustrating him until he finally called the IT administrator for help. When the IT administrator arrived to troubleshoot, he typed his master password into the infected machine. A hidden keylogger had captured every keystroke. Looking at this network hierarchy, we can see how the hackers used those stolen credentials to seize the bank's domain controller. This gave them absolute authority over the entire network infrastructure. But they didn't steal a single cent right away. Instead, they spent months silently observing internal routines, learning exactly how the bank processed transactions. Gaining absolute digital control required very little brute force. The attackers simply manipulated workplace psychology to ensure the administrators granted them access themselves. Once inside, Carbanak deployed 3 extraction methods. First, they artificially inflated existing account balances, skimming only the phantom surplus to ensure the original totals matched during routine checks. Second, they took remote command at the bank's ATMs, programming them to dispense cash exactly when hired money mules were standing by on the street. As this database ledger illustrates, the third method was the most sophisticated. The hackers targeted mule accounts with negligible balances. They overwrote the data, swapping $3.33 for $1 million. Instantly, the physical debit cards carried by mules became tools capable of extracting unlimited wealth. When security experts from Kaspersky Lab were finally brought in to investigate the breaches, they realized the intruders were actively watching them, typing taunting messages in Russian directly onto the investigators' monitors. By rewriting the underlying database logic, the hackers had granted themselves the authority of a central bank, conjuring massive fortunes out of thin air. Every digital heist has an inherent physical flaw. The hackers eventually have to retrieve their stolen fiat currency in the real world. During the Taipei attack, Taiwanese police deployed 500 officers to review CCTV footage, meticulously tracking the physical movements of the money mules as they left the ATMs. The ground operation was messy. One mule abandoned a bag of cash in a public park. Another kept photos of money stacks on his phone, alongside direct emails to the organization's leader. Europol and multiple global agencies followed these physical and digital breadcrumbs all the way to Alicante, Spain, where they identified the mastermind, a man named Dennis. Dennis had amassed tens of thousands of Bitcoin, but he couldn't use it to buy luxury cars and jewelry. Converting his digital hoard into physical assets created the exact fiat currency trail the authorities needed to arrest him. No matter how untraceable digital crime appears, it is ultimately bottlenecked by the highly surveilled nature of physical reality. Despite the arrests, the vast majority of the stolen $1 billion remains missing to this day. The ultimate irony of the Carbanak hack lies in how it all started. The Microsoft Word vulnerability the group exploited to breach Maxime's terminal had actually been patched by Microsoft 3 years prior.
The most devastating financial cyber attack in history didn't rely on unbeatable code. It succeeded simply because one person ignored a prompt to update their software. The ultimate firewall is the end user.